Hello everyone, welcome to my first YouTube video. My name is Prem Kulkarni. I'm a full stack web developer based out of India, and today we'll be building a very own Wordle in React.js. This is something that can be asked in an interview as a machine coding or a low-level design problem statement. So let's get started. So if you already don't know, Wordle is a very famous web-based word game that exploded in popularity, I think in 2022, 2021 that time. Objective of the game is to guess a five-letter word in 6 tries or fewer. You start by guessing any five-letter word as your first guess, and when you press enter, the tiles of the letter you just entered change color to provide feedback. So if you can see, green means the letter is in the right position, and the letter is in the solution and it is in the right position. Yellow means the letter is in the solution but it's not in the right position, and gray just means that it is not in the right position and it's not in the solution. So we will be building a very basic version of this, and we will be using React to build this. Though you can build it using HTML, CSS, and vanilla JS, but I will be using React to build this. So without any further ado, let's get started. So if you can see here, Wordle, it might be calling some kind of an API on load to get the current solution from some kind of a word bank, and it also might be using this word bank to compare if our guess is a correct word. And since we're simply learning, so we'll be using a static word bank. So I've created this word bank.json, and I have a couple of words here which we can use. As you can see, apple, amber, money, and we'll be using a random word from this array as our solution every time on load. So let's create some state variables here. Let's import state from React. Let's format this, and we say solution. We'll be storing our current solution, set solution, and give this a default value of an efficient. And we'll be also using useEffect to basically set the solution every time on load. So we say useEffect and pass, basically pass an empty dependency array. So we will be calling this on load once every time. So let's say const data equals to require, basically import our word bank. And next thing we need to do is basically get a random word from a word bank on every load as our current solution. So let's say set solution as a data dot word bank and math dot random, sorry, math dot floor of math dot random data dot word bank. So basically every time on load we will be getting a random variable from 0 to 1, and we'll be just multiplying that with the length of our word bank and flooring it. So that way we can get a random index every time, and that will be a solution. So let's just log our solution to see if that works. So I'm just gonna say console.log and just copy this whole thing over here. And let's see if this logic works. Yes, so as you can see, apple is a random word from the word bank. Let me just refresh again. Money, so that is our current solution, and amber, and so on. So we are using like a random word every time on load as a current solution. So let me just remove this console log for now, and let me introduce some more state variables. Let's call it total guesses, set total guesses, and basically this will be an array of 6 elements basically, and we'll fill them with null for now as a default value. So if you see here, we get 1 2 3 4 5 6 tries that is our total guesses, and initially they are empty. So we will be just creating this total guess to store those all total guesses, and we will also be creating current guess to store our current guess every time we are guessing on each individual guess. Let's call it current guess, set current guess state. This will be an object. Let's say num will be 0 and value will be addition. So num basically will store the number on which guess we are. So let's say if we are guessing on the second one, that the number will be 2, and so forth, so that we know on which guess we are at. So we have that all set up. So the next step I'm going to do here is let's create a new component. Let's call it tiles.jsx. for lack of a better word. And I'm gonna say const tiles. Just return a simple div for now. Let's call this tile. Let's export this component so that we can import this in our ReactJS. Export default not tile tiles. So let's import this in our app.jsx, and then I'm gonna just render this over here as a component. The next thing I'm going to do is loop over these total guesses and render this tile component for each individual guess, and then we'll just pass the individual guess as a prop. So let's say this. Let's say total guesses dot map. We have the guess, the index, and for each total guess we just render the tiles. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tiles over here, and then we'll just pass this guess as our prop. Let me just wrap this in a div so that it will be easier to style this. Let me copy paste. Okay, let me save this. Okay, so now let's just go into the tiles component and add some logic over here. So for each total guess, we need to render 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 input boxes and display each character of a guess into these input boxes. So for that, we're going to go into the styles.jsx, and first let me grab the guess component, and then we're going to create a simple for loop. Let I equals to 0, I less than okay, so the word length over here is 5, so let's create a global variable for that. Let's call it const word length, which is 5 in our case, and we'll just pass this as another prop to our tiles.jsx. Okay, let me save this. Let's go over here and grab this word length prop, and let's say when I is equal to 0, I is less than word length, I plus plus, and let me store this character of each guess in a char variable, guess of I. The next thing we need to do is, okay, so it's complaining because I is null, so let's add a condition over here. If guess is equal to null, just return an empty array, otherwise just return guess. So we will handle that error. Now what we need to do is, for each character of this guess, we need to create input tag. So for that, let me just instantiate this variable. Let's call it tiles. Okay, and then for each character of a guess, we will push a input tag into this tiles array. This will have a type of text, which will have a value of char, and yeah, I think that's it. And here in the render, instead of this text, we will render the tiles component. So as you can see, it's a bit the styles are not right, so let me style this correctly. Let me call this class name as tile container. Okay, let's go into style.css and grab the class name tile container. Let's say display, we want flex, justify content center. This will basically center our boxes in the middle of the screen. Align items center. This will center it vertically, and let's have a gap of, let's say, 5 pixels, so that there's a gap between all these input boxes. One more thing we need to do is just limit the length of this. So I'm just gonna do this for all the input tags. Let's have the width of I don't know, 20 pixels. Yeah, that works. And let's do text transform capitalize, because everything you enter over here should be capital. So let's do that, and let's see how it works. As you can see, we have these capital letters over here as our guesses, and we have these individual characters for our guesses. Now we need to handle the input validation, and once the user presses enter, we need to compare our guess with the current solution and then check how many characters are right, how many characters are wrong, and then give the user a feedback. So to handle the input, we're gonna have to go into the title.jsx, and let's go here, and let's just format this so that we easily input this type text value character, and we say on change this event. This is to change the input tag, and we say handle change. Handle change will be a function that will be passed from our parent component. So let's grab this prop over here, and let's say const handle change, which will have an event, and we will pass this as our prop to the guess component. Let me just format this as well, and let me pass this handle change as our on change function to the input tag. So in here, what we're going to do is on each input of these letters, we have to put these letters into our current guess as the individual letter of our current guess. So I'm going to say set current guess. Let's grab the old guess, because we don't want to change the num over here. The num will remain the same. Use the spread operator to spread the old guess, and just spread say value will be okay. So we have the old guess, and the value will be old guess dot value plus the event, sorry, e dot target dot value, and just we'll do to uppercase to basically store the input as an uppercase variable. Let me check if this works. We're gonna log our current guess into a separate useEffect to see if we are properly setting our current guess. Let's say current guess, so this is every time current guess changes, which will change every time we enter the input tag. Log current guess. Save this. So the next thing we need to do is check if our handle change is working. So as you can see, the value keeps updating as I'm entering data into this input variable. So our current guess is ABCD right now, and the num is 0 because we are on the 0th number of our guesses. So this works. Now we have our current guess into our current guess variable. Now we need to handle, so if you see the Wordle game over here, once the user has completed the guess for the 5 letters, once the user presses enter, the Wordle gives the feedback regarding that guess. So we're gonna do that. So we're gonna have to listen for the enter key once the user presses the enter key. So let's go over here and create a separate useEffect for that. and we add event listener over here. Let's say window dot add event listener, and the event we are looking for, I think, is called key down, key down, yes. And then for this, we're gonna call a function. Let's call it handle enter, and also we are going to remove this event listener every time the component is destroyed. Window dot remove event listener key down and pass the function. Just copy this. Okay, let me create this handle enter function over here. And this will also receive event object. Okay. We have some syntax here. Yeah, so for handle enter, you have a event and so we have to listen to the enter key every time the user has pressed the enter. So for that, we're gonna say e dot key. We get the key in the key object. I think it's enter, and every time the user presses enter, let's just console for now, and let's see if this works. Let me refresh this. Okay, and once the user presses enter, as you can see, we are logging the enter. Okay, so now we need to handle the logic after the user has completed all 5 tiles, and then he presses enter. We need to check if that's the current solution, and also push the current guess into our total guesses array as that guess. So let's do that. We have to check if our current guess dot value dot length is equal to our word length. Because we don't want to do anything if the user has typed only 3 letters and then presses enter, we don't want to do anything for that. So let's save this and go over here and do, we need to push the current guess into the total guesses as that particular guess. So let me grab our temp total guess variable. Okay, and I'm going to say temp total guess. I'm going to say temp total guess of current guess dot num. So you have to store temp total guess on whichever guess you have. So you can first the first element of the temp total guess will be our current guess dot value, and then just set our total guesses as the temp total guess. Let's see this, and then try again. A M P E R. Then press enter. As you can see, we have logged Amber as a current guess. And set the total guess first element as the current guess. And also we need to now increment the number of our guess to 1 because we need to go into the next guess, and the value to 0 to reset our current guess to empty string. So let's do that. Set current guess. I say num. We have to use the guess here. Num will be old guess dot num plus and value will be empty array. Oh, let's see this. Let's see this. Let's check again. A M P E R. Okay, we have logged the current guess over here. So just remove this log statement, and now we are entering a current guess as a value. So next piece of logic that we need to implement is, if as you can see, all the input tags are disabled, and the only thing are enabled are the guess on which the user is currently. So for that, let's go into app.jsx, and then let's pass our current guess number as a prop to the tile component, and let's also pass the current guess. Let's go into the tiles.jsx. and then grab these props, current guess num and current guess. So we want to disable all the guesses on which the user is currently not. So for that, let's go over here and say disable if current guess num is not equal to current guess dot. Let's call this disabled instead of disabled. So now you can see we are on the first attempt, so the rest of the blocks are disabled. So once we submit our first attempt, we should move on to the next guess, and the rest everything should be disabled. Let's press enter. As you can see, we are on the second guess now, and then all the other guesses are disabled. So the final step here is to provide feedback. As I've already explained before, each tile gives you a feedback. If the character is in the right position and it is in the solution, it will turn green. If it is in the solution but it's not in the correct position, it will turn yellow. And if it's gray, then it's not in the solution or in the right position. So let's do that. So let's go into the for loop and then check. Let's pass the solution as a prop to tiles because we need to compare. So let's say solution equal to solution. We're passing solution. Also, let's log the solution because we need to know what the solution is so that we can attempt this. Let me go over here and say useEffect solution. Let's just log the solution. Let's check this. What's the solution is for the first try. Oh, my bad. Solution, not solution. Save this. And then as you can see, our first solution is marks. So let's keep it as it is so that we can use this. Let's go into the tiles component and then grab our solution property, and we're gonna say if. Let's grab the class name because we need to provide the class names to each tags as the background green or yellow. I'm gonna say if char is equal to solution of I. So if the character is in the right position as the solution, we'll say class name as let's say correct, but else if solution dot includes char. That means if the solution includes the character but it's not in the right position, we'll say the class name as let's say incorrect. And then basically pass this as our class name to the input tag. Now we're going to go into the styles.css and then style these two class names. Basically correct will be background color green and incorrect will be background color yellow. Incorrect will be yellow. Let's just go and let's just see if this works. Okay, this should be let instead of const. Let's refresh this. So our current guess currently is honey. So let's type H Y. Let me type some random words as well. O X E. And when I press enter, as you can see, H is in the right position Y is present in the word, but it's not in the right position. O is present in the word, but it's not in the right position. E is also present in the word, but it's not in the right position. So let's just change the color of our text to white once the background is green, so that we can see the character. Right. Let's just refresh this and try again. Our current case is sauce. So SUSTA. As you can see, S is in the right position, U is not in the right position. Again, S is not in the right position, and A is not in the right position. So let's also go into our handle enter function, and then we want to say if at the end of this, if our current solution is equal to our solution, current guess, sorry, current guess is equal to our current solution, let's just return and do nothing. Let's try that. Let's say POERT. Current solution is not defined. Okay, my bad. So it is solution, not current solution. Let's try again. The word is honey. So let's say A, B, C, D, E. E is the only correct word, but it's not in the right position. So let me guess correctly and see what happens. HONEY. And then as you can see, we have turned all the tiles as green, which means we have guessed the correct word. There it is, guys. We build a very own Wordle. There's a lot of things that can be improved over here. For example, every time the user submits a guess, we could compare that guess with the word bank to check if it's a valid word. And we can also show some kind of a pop-up saying that, yeah, you guessed the right word, stuff like that. And I think that's it. That's a wrap for my very first YouTube video, guys. If you liked it, let me know in the comment section and press that like button. And I'll see you guys in the next one.